y'all. Y'all. So we separated at like 12:30. So at like 1:30, not even an hour later, I hear like a Korean man screaming at the top of his lungs outside in the hallway. And so I immediately shoot up. I'm scared. I'm thinking it's like drunk man, like a domestic violence, abuse, dispute. I'm thinking somebody beating on somebody. I'm thinking somebody done got robbed. I'm confused. So I text him and I'm like, hey, someone's outside of your apartment yelling. I'm a little scared. Like, I don't know what's going on. No response. The yelling keeps going. I'm calling this man, texting this man, calling this man, texting this man. He ain't answering. 30 minutes later, I hear boom, 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 boom. The person is knocking on the door of the apartment. I'm so scared. I'm blowing up his phone. He will not answer. He will not answer. I'm so scared. And I'm scared that the person is going to kick the door down. So finally I answer and I'm like, who is it? To like let them know that someone's in there. Because again, I'm thinking it's like a robber or something. I'm thinking it's someone drunk. I'm thinking I'm about to get raped. I'm just scared. Like, even now my heart is beating. I mean, it only happened a couple of days ago. So of course I remember it vividly. But I remember it so clearly. And I was just so scared. And he would not answer. And so I was like, who is it? And the person starts going blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait, English please, English please. And he's like, huh? What? Building owner. And I'm like, so it's the landlord. And I'm like, okay, it's just the landlord. Like, he's just, okay. I know he said that he had to move out at the end of the week. Like, why the landlord is here at 2 in the morning, I don't know, but at least it's not a rapist. So I open the door and I'm like, hello. Y'all, I was trying to be cute and nice and sweet and he was not having it. He was floored. He saw my stuff everywhere. He saw my bed laid out. He saw that I was sleeping. He was like, huh? Like disgusted disbelief. And he was like, who are you? Why are you here? And so I'm trying to get him to calm down. I'm trying to explain myself. I'm using my translator app. Buddy ain't trying to hear it. He does not care. He's going off on me. He called me a hoe. He asked me, was I a prostitute? I'm like, no, I'm staying here with my friend. He's like, who's your friend? And I'm like, I'm here with Oppa. And he was like, Oppa doesn't stay here. Who's Oppa? And so I pull up a picture of me and Oppa and I show him and he's not trying to hear it. He's not trying to see it. And so I'm like, okay, I'll leave. It's okay, I'm sorry, I'll just get out, I'll just leave. I'm calling, he's not answering. So at this point, I'm on the phone with a friend from home because it's 2 a.m. No one in China is awoke. I don't have friends in Korea aside from Oppa. So I call my friend from the US. And so she's on the phone calming me down. I'm so scared, I feel like I have to throw up. When I get nervous, my hands start cramping and I have to shit. So my stomach hurts, my hands are cramping. Like, oh my God, horrible. So I'm packing up my stuff and he's like, no, stop, put that down, I'm calling the police, put that down. And I'm like, you don't have to call the police, like, it's okay. He's like, no, put that down. So I guess he wanted all of my stuff laid out so when the police came, they could see that I was actually here and that he wasn't tripping. And so as he's on the phone with dispatch, I'm like slowly packing up my stuff. And so by the time the police get there, police are being way more compliant. They're being way nicer. Like, I'm texting them with my app. Of course, the landlord in the background, he's belligerent. He's talking to the other police. At one point, they start taking selfies with each other. He's just going off. So I'm talking to the other police. I get out my translator app. I'm like, I'm staying here with my friend Oppa, and I've only only been here one night. I'm leaving tomorrow to go home. He just wanted me to stay for this one night, and I'm going home. That's it. He's like, well, where is he? And I'm like, I don't know. He just walked me here, put in the code, and then left, and then we're meeting in the morning to go to the airport. And so he takes my ID and everything. A small side note, he saw that I had a residence permit from China. He was like, you live in China? And I'm like, yeah, I live in China. I'll cough on all of y'all. Shoot, out here being mean to me. I'm like, yes, I live in China. So once he saw that I lived in China, he was way nicer to me because it's Corona time. So at this point, we still can't reach Oppa. I'm like, I don't have his number. I've only been talking to him on WeChat, but I've been calling him and he's not answering the phone. I don't know. And so we go downstairs and we go outside to the street. The landlord comes outside as well, and he's still talking to the police. He's yelling in the street. At one point, he slams his phone on the ground and cracks his phone. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this man? I'm like, what? Somebody arrest him. He's the one being belligerent. And so they asked me if I know the password to the apartment. I told him no. The landlord gets in the back of a police car. I get in the back of the police car. I think we're going to the police station, and we're going to the real estate office. And so I guess he's looking for, at first I thought that he was going to go through the CCTVs and like see where I had been staying there all week, and then I was going to be caught in a lie, and then I was going to get in trouble. But no, I guess he was just going through his records to see if he was actually leasing out to Oppa. And so he's talking to the police, and like as he's talking to the police, I'm like rolling my eyes and like giving him stank faces. And so he's like and he puts me out. And so the police take me outside. I'm cold. I'm sitting in the police car. And so the police are like, so do you have anywhere to go? I'm like, no, this is my first time here. I don't know anyone. I only know this one person. I don't have any friends. And they're like, okay, we're going to take you to a hotel. Do you have money? I should have said no. But I was like, yeah, I got some money. And we went to a hotel, and they booked me a hotel room. I paid for the hotel room. I could not sleep. Oppa wouldn't answer the phone. I called him. I texted him. He wouldn't answer the phone. At this point, I was feeling so sad and defeated because he wasn't answering. I think maybe it's a good idea if I leave tomorrow. I think maybe I should stay until Wednesday. I don't think that's a good idea. Like, I think I should leave tomorrow. And so, still no response. I get up in the mornings, I text him, and I'm like, I don't know if you're mad at me, like if I got you in trouble, I'm sorry. It's like, I feel like you're mad at me. I didn't try to get you in trouble. Like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen. Like, I didn't want it to turn out this way. Like, this wasn't supposed to happen. I was doing everything right. I wasn't loud. I was sleeping. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't get you in trouble with the police. I hope I didn't get you in trouble with the landlord. And he didn't respond again. So that's when I made up in my mind. I was like, okay, he's done with me. Plus, I always, on YouTube, you always hear about, oh, Korean men ghosting. So I'm like, okay, he's definitely like ghosted me. He's definitely done with me. So I get up to my counter at the airport, and they tell me, they say, 1, the flight that you want to get on has already left. 2, you booked through a third party, so you can't change your flight. You have to leave on the 5th, or you have to cancel your ticket and book a new one. And I was like, holy shit, I don't want to do that. I ended up staying. I booked another room where I was in the first place. At the beginning of my trip, I booked another couple of days, and that's where I was staying. So, around 4 o'clock, I was sleeping, except I wasn't really sleeping because, like, when I heard footsteps, I would jump. When I heard knocking at the door, I would jump. I would get so scared, even if it didn't have anything to do with me. Like, I was so traumatized by the night before. I was just so scared. So I was in the bed, and at around 5, I get a message from him. And he's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, Jocelyn. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Did you leave Korea? Please tell me you're still here. I'm so sorry. I really need to talk to you. I really need to, please, blah, blah, blah. I'm so sorry. And And so, of course, I would wanted to hear like his reason and his excuse. So I was like, yeah, I'm still here. And he was like, oh, I'll meet you. I'll come meet you. So we meet at a coffee shop, like really, really close to my hospital, like across the street. His reasoning was, so he told me that the landlord overreacted because he's an alcoholic and he's always drunk. And he was like, maybe he said that he rented out his apartment from a previous building owner and that they switched building owners recently. And he said that he hasn't really had much time to contact or connect with the new building owner. So maybe he forgot that he was staying there, especially since he was supposed to be moving out. And then on top of him being drunk, the whole situation just like went crazy. But he said he contacted his old building manager, and that building manager contacted the new building manager, and they confirmed that he wasn't supposed to move out until the 8th. So technically I wasn't doing anything wrong, and that's understandable, like where that could have been a mishap and like a miscommunication. But my thing is, where were you like for the past 14 hours, like from 2 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock in the evening the next day? I know that's not 14 hours, but I don't know how many hours it is, so I'm just gonna say 14. It's probably 15 now that I'm doing the math in my head. Cause wait, no, 13. Wait, no. Like, where were you for like this half of a day? Over half of a day has been gone by. Where were you? Oh, my phone was on Do Not Disturb, and I was sleeping all day, and I just got up to eat family dinner with my family, and that's when I saw all your messages when I checked my phone, and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me, because who just goes, even if my phone is on Do Not Disturb, like my phone is on Do Not Disturb now, and like all during the video, prime example, all during the video, I've been like checking it. Do Not Disturb for me is like if I'm in a bad mood, or if I know I need to get some sleep, or half of the time I don't Do Not Disturb. I just like mute certain people and certain conversations that I know I'm gonna be blowing up my phone all night while I'm trying to like sleep and not be distracted. And so I'm just like, even if you were sleeping all day, even if you were working, how do you just not check your phone for the whole day? But I mean, we are talking about the same person who like sleeps in his office at work, the same person who will delete all of his like SNS. Well, he doesn't have any SNS, but like stuff like communication apps, he'll delete them for like weeks at a time to focus on the project. Just a very like straight and narrow type of person, so I could understand it a little bit, but like I can't relate. So he was just like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, like, I'm sorry, I hope it didn't ruin your experience, like, I hope blah blah blah. And I was like, well, I am a little shaken up, but I don't want it to ruin my experience. It just keeps getting worse, y'all. So he was like, okay, so can we have dinner tomorrow? We'll have dinner tomorrow. And I was like, okay, and I'll leave Wednesday. Let's have dinner tomorrow and Tuesday. He's like, no, Tuesday won't work. And I'm like, what do you have to do Tuesday? And he was like, oh, well, Tuesday I have a meeting with people for my job. And I was like, okay, that's Tuesday morning. I was like, okay, this Tuesday morning, but what about Tuesday afternoon? What about Tuesday evening? I have a date with another girl. Okay, like I know we aren't exclusive or anything. I know we met on Tinder. I know we've only been talking for like 2 weeks, but like, what? And I was like, huh? And he was like, yeah, I have a date with another girl. He was like, I was supposed to hang out with her last Tuesday, but I had to cancel. I'm pretty sure we hung out on Tuesday. Okay, I can understand. Like, I can empathize. Like, you're a 35-year-old Korean man with like a career. You just got out of a nasty breakup not too long ago. Like, you want to be out and about. You want to be thotting and bopping and hoeing out here. And like, I stay in China. I'm 22. I stay in China. I'm only here visiting for a couple of weeks. Like, realistically, I knew that it wasn't gonna go anywhere. Like, I was hoping that, like, oh, you're only an hour and a half, you're only 2 hours away, I'll come visit you. Oh, if I have an extra day off one day, I'll just take off an extra day and have a 4-day weekend and come spend time with you. Oh. So, like, in my head, that's what I thought was gonna happen. And I realized that, like, it's a very idealistic and a very, like, romantic way of thinking. I know that, but I'm just like, damn, another date. And so I'm like, well, can't you cancel? Like, you'll be in Korea forever, she'll be in Korea forever, but I'm going back to China. That's like my last night here. I really wanted to spend it with you. And he was like, I really can't. And I'm just like, but why can't you? And he was like, it's just so rude, Jocelyn, it's so rude. And I'm just like, but why can't you? And so I was so sad. And so we stayed at the coffee shop. I dropped the subject. We stayed at the coffee shop, got some work done, and then when we were leaving, it started snowing. It was so amazing. It was so beautiful. And we went back to my hostel, and he saw that I was in this teeny tiny ass room, and he was like, I can't stay here, because at this point it was like 1 in the morning. The subways weren't running. He was like, I can't stay here. And then it was snowing. He was gonna like get a community bike and bike home, but he couldn't bike home. So he got a hotel room, and we spent the night at the hotel, and we talked and we watched TikToks and we ate ramen. Next day, we were walking home. Well, he was walking me back to my hostel, and I was like, okay, so I'll see you for dinner tonight. And he was like, I have so much to do, but I will try. And I'm like, how did we go from, yes, we'll have dinner tonight, but not Tuesday, to I'm gonna try for Monday? So I texted him at around 5, and I was like, hey, are we gonna have dinner? Like, what's the word? Should I start like getting ready? He was like, I'm sorry, I don't think dinner's gonna happen tonight. Okay, it's okay. It's okay. It's alright. It's fine. And he didn't respond. And so Tuesday, we went through Tuesday, still no response. And so Tuesday, I got another message from my job, and they were like, our whole city is shut down. The whole city is on lockdown. Public transportation isn't running. Taxis aren't running. Apartment complexes aren't letting people in or out. Wherever you are, you have to stay there until the night. And so I made the decision to go ahead and to stay in Korea for another 4 days until the 8th, but not before. This was before I knew that. I sent him a message, and I was like, well, I really wanted to hang out with you. No, Tuesday morning, I sent a message, and I was like, good luck on your meeting, and good luck with tonight. I really wanted to see you one more time before you left. I'm really, really sad that we didn't get to hang out, but I had a really great time. Like, I'm not mad about anything. I really, really enjoyed you. And next time I come to Seoul, we'll just go ahead and get married. Next time I come to Seoul, we'll just go ahead and get married, so we don't have to worry about all the other stuff. And he was like, LOL, you're always welcome to come back to Seoul. Korea's always welcome to have you. You can always come back to Seoul to pay me back my money. And I was like, no, because he did lend me some money. Because he's Oppa. And he was like, I really hope that what happened didn't turn you off for good. Like, just think of it as a climax in your perfect little Korean drama. And I really enjoyed you, and I'm glad that you had fun. I'm glad that I made your stay in Korea good. And so I think the last message, I told him, he suggested that I go to a bathhouse on Sunday night when we were at the hotel, because I was telling him how my feet and my skin had been so dry in Korea. And he was like, oh, well, maybe you should go to a bathhouse. Maybe you like a bathhouse. You can get a scrub. And so I told him that I had went. And he was like, oh, good for you. And he asked me how my hostel was. And I told him it was okay. And he was like, I told him I had another roommate who's another English teacher. And he was like, everyone's hiding out from the coronavirus. And I was like, LOL. Yeah. I was like, it's a no man's land. And I told him about my apartment and he didn't respond. So yeah, that's the story of my Korean oppa. That's the story of how I got my heart broken in Korea. I'm still sad, but again, like now that I'm back home in China, it's like I have more stuff to focus on. And I think taking a solo trip to Korea, I think more than anything, I was just lonely. Like it wasn't the fact that like my oppa wasn't talking to me anymore, or that I didn't have an oppa or anything like that. And more so the fact that a bitch was just lonely. That was the only person that I knew in Korea. And I had hung out with him multiple times. Yeah, I had met up with a couple of other people, but I wasn't really feeling it. And the people who I were feeling it with, like, they were busy. And so, yeah, that's what happened with my oppa. Maybe it's not the end of this story. I'm pretty sure it is the end of the story, but maybe it's not the end of the story. If you enjoyed the story, give me a like and a subscribe. You don't have to if you liked it, because sometimes I be liking the story, but I'm just like, I ain't got time. Like, you was funny once, but girl, I can't be listening to you too much. I'm not really doing this whole YouTube thing for like likes and subscriptions and stuff like that. Honestly, I just wanted to get on here and tell this story because I've been feeling so bad about it that, you know how when something bad happens, you just keep wanting to talk about it. So I told all of my friends about it. So I'm like, all right, only people left to tell about it is YouTube. So yeah, if you want to hear more story times, if you want to hear about me living in China or my trips to Korea or any other just random BS that I've gotten into over the 22 years of my life, feel free to subscribe, leave me a comment down below. If you liked it, good. If you didn't like it,